Welcome to the Elite Athlete Podcast. I am Dr. Nicole Tatro, and I'm here to help you unleash your peak performance and dominate your sport with fierce confidence and unstoppable energy. Whether you're a high-level athlete, a dedicated parent, a coach, or an agent, this podcast is for you. Get ready for ultimate strategies, expert insights, and cutting-edge tips that will take your game to the next level. We'll also cover personalized blood work analysis to provide unique insights that can transform your performance. We'll explore personalized health, optimized nutrition, and powerful recovery techniques. Whether you're on the ice, the field, or in the gym, together, we'll unlock your true potential and make your athletic dreams a reality. Let's do this, because greatness is within you, and it's time to unleash it. All right. Well, welcome back to the Elite Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Nicole Tatro, and today I have a special treat. Although I always say that, I'm always very, very lucky to have anybody come on and join me on this show. But today, especially for my local fans here in the hockey world, I have with me Justin Martin, who is a lifelong hockey enthusiast. He's a husband and father of 2 boys. Welcome, Justin.
Thank you very much for inviting me to your show, and I'm really excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. And obviously, that introduction really didn't do it justice because I know there are so many more things. You'll probably be humble about it. But I know a lot of our local listeners will know exactly who you are. And they aren't, they are very aware of your history. But I'm wondering, since not all of my listeners are local, maybe you could tell us a little bit about your humble beginnings.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Happy.
What did you do? What did you do in the hockey world?
A lifelong hockey enthusiast. What does that mean? Well, I got introduced to this sport at a young age of 2. My parents took me actually to a Colchester Lakers game, which is a local high school hockey team around here. We had a bunch of friends that were on that team, and my parents was a very active child, and they brought me to the game, and I sat there and I didn't move the entire game. Like, watch the game, and they were both like, "Okay, I guess we know what we're going to sign him up for." So, fast forward 47 years, 49 years old. I've been in Vermont for a lot of my life. I played youth hockey here in Vermont. Played at a local high school, Essex High School, where I graduated in 1993. Was fortunate to be a 7th-round draft pick of the LA Kings back then. Same day I graduated from high school. Really fun day in my life and my career.
That's
And
awesome.
then after Essex High School, I went to the Taft School. I did a PG year at the Taft School in Watertown, Connecticut, for a coach named Mike Mayer. Would be remiss if I also didn't mention my coach Bill O'Neill at Essex High School, and then came back to Vermont. Played 4 years at the University of Vermont. Very blessed to have been on probably 2 of the best teams in the history of UVM. My sophomore year, we lost in double overtime to an illegal hand pass to Colorado College in the Final Four. Some great stories there. And then my junior year, we made it back to the NCAA tournament. So really, fortunate to be a Vermonter and have played on some of those teams with guys like Martin St. Louis, Tim Thomas, Eric Perrin, and so many more players that maybe aren't household names, but were just really influential in who I was as a hockey player and as a person. And then, after I played at the University of Vermont, I had a tryout with the LA Kings. Wasn't there very long. Bounced around the minors. Trials and tribulations of that experience, and ended up playing 3 years of minor professional hockey, and then hung up my skates in 2001. Had a great run. No regrets in my playing days. And when I came back, I knew I wanted to get back involved with the sport that had given me so much. I got an education out of it. I got to travel 40 out of 50 states and meet, just a ton of unbelievable people that were huge influences again on me and my life and who I wanted to be as a person and as a coach. And so I've been back since '01. I've coached everything from junior hockey to 8U learn to skate stuff. Um, and so, I have two boys, beautiful wife named Kate, who's very supportive of me. And so, I've been able to continue to engage in ice hockey. Both my sons play it. So, it's a great way for me to spend time with my kids. And so they came up through Essex Youth Hockey, and then I started to run an organization called the Glades here in Vermont, which was a tier one hockey program. And then, there were other tier one programs. So we were able to try to bring all that stuff back together under one envelope. And that's the Vermont Junior Cats that you see in the background. And this is our second year of the Vermont Junior Cats. Love doing what I'm doing. I get to do it as my full-time job. Again, feel very fortunate in my life to have figured out how to make that happen, because I love working with kids. I love to, give kids a higher bar of expectation. And, I'm always amazed that when you raise the level of what the expectation is, and the bar for our young kids, how high they achieve to try to reach their goals. Because, I'm 49, my playing days are behind me. Now it's the next generation and the next generation, and they have goals and aspirations, and they want to play for the Cats or play in the NHL or whatever those goals would be. And I've always been one to, why would we ever tell our kids, no, that goal is not realistic? I always want kids to set high goals, and then again, they have to learn how to achieve those goals, and that's all part of the process that we do as an elite hockey program. We're trying to teach these kids what they need to be doing on the rink and away from the rink to be the best of themselves. So, again, hockey is a passion, and it's something that's kind of followed me through my life. And for whatever reason, I continue to be in a position to get to continue on with this great sport that's given so much. And now I get to share those experiences with my sons, which again just gives me, as a father, a lot of pride in who my kids are and who they've become as young people, and who they're going to be as adults. And I think hockey has had a lot to do with making all of us who we are today.
I think that's so amazing. And just going back to your younger days of you being a Vermonter and then going to UVM, like I think that is something really special. I know that doesn't happen that often. But it's really nice for us to see like a local person doing those things,
Yeah,
right? And you and I are the same age, so I didn't recognize that then when
right.
but you know that I'm living that as a hockey mom right
Right.
now. We're right in that junior hockey, the end of prep school. Like it's vicious, it's brutal, it's a
It is
grind. It's a grind. So it's very awesome to have you in our little state, especially when, for example, when my boys come home, not only are they skating with you, but they're actually working with you now. So it's really awesome of you to give those opportunities for kids of all ages, really, because you've got my older kids coming back. They're right in the heart of it, but they're not in your younger programs. But like I said, helping with your younger programs, and that allows those little guys in your programs to look up to them, because who knows where they're going to end up. But I love what you said about the dreams, and that's how we are as a family. We have no idea where, if there's never an end, right? There's always going to be something. I have a feeling my kids will always be involved in something regarding sports
Yeah.
and hockey. But that's what we are. We're following along at this point, especially for the boys, because they're older and they have to do the work at this point.
Yeah.
We're just kind of there.
Yeah.
With Owen, I don't even have to sign anything anymore because he's
18, right? He's an adult, and
He's an adult, but we're a very close family. So I love everything that you're doing, and I think it's pretty amazing.
thank you.
I know there's some crossover too, because some of your athletes for hockey, like I coach field hockey right now, so some of my young ladies are on your teams and have been in the past. So
Yeah,
I thank you for what you're doing, and I thank Kate for sharing you with them.
thank you for saying that, because it is a lot of work, and some days are better than others. Like I think any
For
profession,
sure.
right? You have your good days and your bad days, and it has been phenomenal. I mean, to your point, that's exactly why we have the Vermont Junior Cats. So when kids, come back in the summertime and they need to stay up on their sports, but they also want to make a buck or be involved, I think it's so important to reach out to those next generations and make sure that they remember where they came from and what helped get them to where they are as players, if that's prep school or junior or college or wherever they aspire to. All those kids at one point started in a mite program, right? And
Exactly.
so giving those kids the vehicle to come back and be able to help out, pay them for their time, because again, time our time is all we have, and I feel like people are worth money for their time, and I also want them to be present and there and engaging with kids, because you're right, those kids are all looking up to those kids that are still playing. They're not looking up to me anymore. They don't
I know.
even know that I played, right? They're like,
I
"Who's
know,
the
right?
dusty dinosaur on the bench?" You know, I get it. Like I was the same way, right? Like, what does this guy know, right? Well, I mean, he, played for a bunch of years and has some good experiences, and so again, um, getting the whole litany of different coaches in different generations and different ages, it's so important for people to come back and give back to a sport again that made a lot of these guys. I mean, I've been coaching 20 plus years now. A lot of the kids I've coached are, CFOs or, accountants or
Yeah.
lawyers or, whatever. And they all, again, understand that a lot of what made them who they are today is the sport of ice hockey, right? It teaches so many life lessons: how to be a teammate, how to work with others, even when it's hard to work with others, how to set goals, how to work hard towards those goals, how to not get frustrated when you have a setback and continue to work through those goals, because like your kids are figuring out right now and dealing with in real time, it is a very competitive world. So is the workforce, right?
Exactly.
The jobs that are out there that they're going to want to get after college, and I feel like our players are really well prepared to understand that compete and that expectation of what that compete level is like, to again, become the people that they're going to become. Maybe they want to stay in hockey. That's great. Maybe not. A lot of them are really smart and are want to be doctors and lawyers and whatever else. And so again, it gives them the foundation of how to work and how to work towards that stuff. And um, but I have to say, over my time, that's been one of the more difficult things for me, is to keep the next generations involved. And it kind of ebbs and flows based on the different generations. Some generations are like, no, I don't want to give up my weekends. Like, this is important for me. I'm building who I am, and they don't necessarily want to come back. And whereas the day I was done, I was on the phone like, how can I get back and come back and be
Yeah.
involved? Because again, I know what the sport's given to me. I wouldn't be the person I am today without the sport of ice hockey, no question about it. And I've met a ton of great people because of it, and so I'm always pushing. We have a great relationship with the University of Vermont, and we're always trying to get UVM guys to come, because again, they're the role models.
Yeah.
I consider myself so fortunate to have grown up here in Vermont. When I was a kid, playing for UVM was like playing for the Boston Bruins, right? They
Yeah.
were our professional team. That's what we
Exactly.
aspired to. So to have a chance to be a Vermonter and to make it onto those teams, and then the success and the amazing people I've met through those teams, again, it's something I can never repay, and all I can do is try to give back to the next generation and hope that they continue it along and perpetuate this as we move forward.
Well, I think you're doing a good job at it. I think you're building a really strong foundation. Like, you've come in and you're, one step at a time, and it's noticed, I notice it. It's growing. It's growing. It's nice. It's nice. You're doing a good job. I feel the same way. I didn't play ice hockey. It wasn't available when I was, it was just barely starting to get available when I graduated high school. So it's such a bummer because I think I would have really enjoyed it. I always joke that I played basketball and I'm only like 5'5" and I was like the third tallest. So what does that tell you, right? So, but I think that I would have loved ice hockey. The boys a few years ago, when they first started getting like pretty serious, I think they were on Glades at the time, maybe. Um, I opened up for Christmas a brand new, like not even used stuff, like real new hockey stuff. So Kevin's got a really nice. My husband went with the card and bought all this stuff for me. So I played women's league for a while up in St. Albans. It was hard when we moved to Colchester. It was a little bit hard for me to keep it up, but I totally would have loved it. But I did play softball and field hockey in college, and I look back at like all of the things that I went through, and I try to take those experiences like when I coach now, like you, other than not going way up to the junior hockey level, I've coached all the way from t-ball to high school, both, you know, the field hockey and the softball. And I tried, they laugh at me and they roll their eyes, but I always joke and say, like, it's not just about the skill, I'm also teaching you corny life lessons. And I have, now I'm kind of dating myself, I did what you did. I came right back as soon as I came back to Vermont. I started coaching. And so some of those girls that I coached right when I came back have their own kids now, and they still reach out to me. They still call me coach, and you know, we're like peers now, it seems like. Um and they joke about how some of the things that I had said then and they still remember now. So
Yeah.
I take pride in that. And the girls now these days, because it's, I'm coaching my daughter's level for field hockey, like the middle school. And they're respectful, but I know they're like, oh my gosh, be
So
quiet. I'm like, you'll get it someday.
you
You'll
coached,
understand.
have you coached a kid of someone else that you've coached, like a kid of a
Not
yeah.
yet. Not yet.
That's always interesting, you know, because again, the generations they change quite a bit. You know, I was probably a lot different than my parents were at their time, and I know kids are different than maybe I was at their point in life. You know, so it's interesting to see, you know, how that stuff changes. But
Exactly.
you know, yeah, again, to have those, and you had made a comment before, you know, you're coaching a lot of junior cat girls that are, you know, again, high caliber athletes, and that's one thing, you know, I pride ourselves on what we're doing. We are multi-sport proponents. I do want kids playing multiple sports as long as they can. In saying that, it gets difficult, right? And
Yeah.
kids get to that like high school age, in this day of specialization, and you know, talking about elite athletes, a lot of kids have to make decisions at that age.
Yeah.
I think the girl side of things, that is hopefully going to stay a little truer to more athleticism for longer. I find that, you know, more girls play three sports and move on to prep schools to play three sports, and that's great. But you know, again, on the boys' side, it does become so specialized. So, like, unless you're that like blue chip guy that, you know, you just have all the talent and you have the hard work and stuff, a lot of kids have to specialize earlier. Uh,
Yeah. Owen had to let go right off when he went to prep school, not for junior boarding school. He was, they encourage all three sports
yeah,
there. So they stayed with it there. But when he went to Cushing, he let go. He was a really wonderful soccer player because he's really
yeah.
fast. And then also my kids were all-star baseball players, and he let go of both because obviously split
Yep.
season was, got rid of soccer, and then he trained and lifted in the spring, so didn't play
And
baseball.
again, you know, that it just speaks to the environment that we are in sports right now. And again, a lot of what we do is educating parents on, you know, what does the um, landscape look like nowadays. And again, if kids can stay in multiple sports for as long as they can, great. That's great.
Yeah,
But if they do have a drive to play, you know, junior hockey, for example, or aspire to Division 1 level, a lot of those kids are specialized by the time they get to
yeah,
high school, and that's something
yeah,
that people don't understand. And I guess what I would say is, especially outside of Vermont, that's the norm.
Yes.
right? So all the kids you're competing against outside our little pond of Vermont, they are all specializing at a younger age.
Yep.
A lot of them have nutritionists and personal trainers and skills coaches. And this is at, you know, peewee or, you know, seventh, eighth grade, ninth grade. So the longer you wait, the further behind you get in development. It's the reality.
Yeah.
And
It's sadly it's true because I loved watching the boys play all the other sports. Aiden hung on to baseball a little longer and he actually picked up lacrosse, but I think it's
yeah,
over. For the same reasons because they have the dreams with hockey.
yeah,
But yeah, we can I know we're talking mostly about hockey, but I can bring softball into it. Is when you step outside of our area and even step outside of New England, these southern states, I mean, they're playing softball year
yeah,
round. And if it's a little too chilly, they have stadiums. Like we have more than when I was playing. I used to have to try to pitch in my grandpa's hay barn, in the best of my ability. But now we have a few facilities, but like you go anywhere else, you can go and play tournaments all year long, even when there's
oh
snow.
yeah,
And so, yeah, so it's happening even in the softball world. And so with my background as a physical therapist, it makes me a little bit sad because I want these kids using their whole body.
yeah.
But as a sports mom and working in this elite, sport world, you have to, or else like you just said, you're a step behind
Yeah,
already.
you fall behind and it happens really fast, and again, as you get
Yeah.
into high school, those are such important developmental years, and
Yep.
again, if you're not focusing on the weight room and your flexibility and your speed and your quickness, um, there's 1,000 kids that are, and they go by you very
Yeah.
fast. So, you know, it is a very competitive space, and um, will only continue to be competitive as there's, you know,
Yeah.
more coaching, better access to more knowledge. I mean,
And the resources.
the
Yeah.
resources are just incredible now. You can go on, like, you don't need a personal trainer. You can go on, you could figure it out for yourself on a video. You know,
Yep.
YouTube is a great resource. I'm pointing my people back all the time to different YouTube and defensive
Hmm.
zone or whatever we're working on. There's so many resources out there. So, you know, as a young athlete, you got to take advantage of that stuff that exists for you. But also, I would say, you know, if you want to be an elite athlete, you got to figure out how to keep it fun as well. You know, that's a big part of like what we try to do and the organization and the people that we try to surround these kids with is we got to make the sport fun. Is it demanding? Yeah. Yeah, it is demanding. Is there a lot of detail to it? Absolutely. Are the expectations higher than other programs? You got that right. Um, but part of the fun becomes the work and becomes the camaraderie with your teammates and understanding that you're all in this together and pushing each other to play at a higher level.
It's funny. My daily mom text to the boys is always, work hard. And then I always say, make sure you're still having
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
Every day. Maybe I miss a day here and there, but almost every single day, at least before big practices, big games. It's like, be safe. That's my first one. Be safe because the junior hockey world, they're starting to take some of their equipment off. Like, come on. I'm like, I like those teeth, Owen. Let's go. We won't
with a
go there.
couple fake
But
ones myself. So
oh my gosh, and Owen is the only one out of the 3 kids right now that I haven't put in $8,000 into their
yeah,
mouth for braces.
yeah,
I'm like, "Go figure."
just
But
keep
anyway,
that full cage on as long as you can.
I know, I don't get it,
I'm with
but I'm just the hockey mom, I'll let it go. So Justin, you mentioned, so this is perfect for me because you mentioned, nutrition, the performance piece. So as you know, or maybe so I've been starting to work with elite athletes. It's not that I work with elite athletes, but any athlete that wants to get into that elite athlete category. So basically, I'm looking for people that want that next level. So the way I look at it is we're really looking at their internal health. I even say it their internal stats. So we even dive into if they want to go full in unique, what is their unique makeup, we look at blood work and then we can optimize from that using nutrition strategies, nutrient timing, even high level supplements, all of those things. So with that being said, I'm just curious, looking back at your history, because I know I have my thoughts on what I wish I had, like if I had known what I know now, then I wonder where else I could have gone. But I wonder if you have those moments. Did you see gaps in your, sport history with yourself? And then maybe we could fast forward to where are you seeing the gaps in today's world?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, because it's funny, I was on with Connor, or we all know him as Woody, and we were talking about resources, and that's where I feel like Vermont is lacking. But people like you, bringing the cats and bringing all these other resources, I think it's helping. But I think we are a little bit behind in our little state. But the good thing with what I can do is that I could reach people all over because I can do things virtually as well. But I'm just wondering, in your opinion, because you've been there, done that, and you're doing it right now, where are you seeing the gaps?
Yeah. So as a player, again, it was a long time ago now. I can remember back that far. No. Yeah. Hey, I think we all have things in our lives that we look back on and we wish we had done a little differently. I had some great opportunities in my playing life, and some of those opportunities I took advantage of. Some other things I wish I had been a little more mature about at the time. And again, that's all part of this growth process because we all kind of mature at different times. I have some younger kids, 13, 12, that are like the most dedicated and coach, what do I need to do today? I want to get better today. And, they're just so focused on that. That's phenomenal, right? That's a trait that is really hard to find. Not every kid has that trait. Other kids are a little more laissez-faire, if you will. Hey, I had a good game today. I'm going to go reward myself. I'm going to, eat something that's, maybe not going to be the best for
Right.
me. Those type of things. And again, I think as younger kids, got to be a kid, right? You got to still have fun
Yes.
and enjoy what
Have
you're
fun,
doing, right?
right?
But also, as you start to mature, there are some things that you really need to be paying attention to. Again, that myself at my time, um, sport specific training was just kind of starting when I was going. It was a lot of bench press and curls. When I was coming up and lifting. Well, hockey players don't really need like huge biceps, right? Like they need strong
Right.
legs. So for me, it was boy, I kind of wish I had spent more time on my lower body and my core. Some of that was, hey, we know a lot more than we knew back then,
Exactly.
and the sports science and the physiology of things. Like I feel like the world of science continues to learn and evolve and educate us in new and different ways we were training 25 years ago compared to how we train athletes now.
Mhm.
They're two different things. It's really quite amazing. So those were some of the things. Maybe more healthy, right? In college and eating better and those type of things. But I kind of also live life, Nicole. Like I don't have a lot of regrets in my life, and I've had an awesome life. Was it exactly how I always pictured it and drew it out? No, you have points in your road, but you know, if I had made it in hockey, would I move back to Vermont? Would I have met my wife?
True.
Would I have had
Yeah.
two amazing kids that I have? I don't know, right? Like you don't know those things, but this is where I ended up, and so really, uh, could I have done things better? Absolutely, I could have, but not a lot of regrets as far as like, oh man, I wish I'd gone right when I could have gone left. Not a lot of that stuff. As far as today's athletes, again, based on what we do know now, there's a few things that we really focus on. One is, the importance of sleep. I think that's an internal thing that we have to sleep every day. If you don't sleep after a while, your body will just put you to sleep, right? It's so again, having a plan for what those sleep cycles are, we've learned so much about the importance of good rest and optimal athletic performance. I
Mhm.
sleep is a huge thing. Hydration. I think we continue to learn more. I think we know a lot of this stuff, how sugary sports drinks are. and white sugar and white flour and what that does to our bodies and our brains, and we crave that stuff. And again, like, um, we've known that for a long time. Like, I feel like we know that, but yet I still see 9 out of 10 kids walking around with a
Yeah.
Gatorade in their hand,
Yeah.
and that's what they sell in the rinks where the kids go, and
I
in the
know.
snack bars. And hey,
I'd love to change
yeah,
that.
they don't. Well, they don't. At least they don't sell Coca-Cola anymore.
You're right. You're right. It's getting better, but it's still just slow.
Changed
It's
a lot.
slow to change.
You know,
Yeah.
when I was a kid, oh, you're thirsty, like, go get a soda. Like, you would
Yeah.
never say that now, right?
Yeah. Well, I've said it several times on different episodes, but I would eat a Snickers bar because in my brain, high school brain, I thought that I was getting the protein from the
Right.
peanuts and I liked it. It tastes good. And that was what I would have in between games or between school and my game or something like
Yeah.
that. And I just look back and I'm like, "Oh man."
Right.
Like I don't know the last time I've had a Snickers. And I'm not bashing anyone that still has a Snickers, but it's just I know better now. Like that doesn't work for my
Yeah.
body.
Yeah, and so, like that kinda, the hydration is a big thing, you know? I think a lot of kids are more dehydrated than we know, and so
Oh my gosh, for sure.
the role we talk a lot about, especially as the kids get older, consistency in our effort, right? And not having a roller coaster, not having a good game and then a bad game, and then a good game,
Yeah.
medium.
Well, that's what they don't realize. If they don't have, like you mentioned, sleep, and sorry, this
Yep,
stuff, I get all nerdy
yep,
because I love this piece, the science piece. But the sleep, that's when they don't realize recovery, like your rest and recovery, it doesn't only mean sleep, but just rest and recovery. That's when your body is healing. That's when the growth hormone is happening. That's when the muscles are rebuilding. Because when you're working out, you're breaking down those muscle fibers to build it back up. But if you don't recover, that's not going to happen. And then you have the extra soreness. And it's just this thing. But when the kids are young and they might look healthy, right? And if you're listening, I just did air quotes, right? Because they, our bodies can compensate for so long. But what they don't understand, and they won't know that until they look back when they're our age and they look back, is that you are doing damage. Even though you can still do really pretty well, it's like imagine what you could do if you were actually doing the right
yep.
things. Um, and I'm not someone that's strict on all those right things either, because the right thing for one isn't the right thing for another. That's another thing too.
And
But
constantly changing based on what we continue to learn about.
it's true, true. I have some funny stories in my house where my husband just puts his hands up and he's like, "What? We can't have that
Right.
now?" I'm like, "We just didn't know." I realized that that was a bad ingredient. I didn't know that before, and so yeah, it's an ongoing thing. So that's why I've I'm not strict in any. There's no diet in my household. We're not vegan. We're not carnivore. There's not one thing, but that's why it's so cool when I started learning about the blood work analysis and soon to be DNA analysis too. Like that rocks my world because then we can work with your actual body. And it's crazy to see some of these athletes that I'm looking at that are deficient in some of their minerals. So there you go. Like they think that the Gatorade is replenishing when really it's stealing things
Right.
because of the sugar. The sugar will, fight with other things, and I could go on. And then it causes inflammation, and inflammation is going to wreak havoc on everything.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's just I get really nerdy
No,
because
but
it's so
it's
cool.
the little details of everything, right? You
Yeah.
pay a little more attention to your sleep, right? And you pay a little more
Yeah.
attention to your hydration, and you focus a little more on what you're eating and how you're refueling your body and when you're refueling
Mhm.
your body.
Yeah. Timing is critical
So
too.
then, like, now you're adding some of these things to, you know, improve, right? That's what we're talking about, making incremental improvement every year. If that's
Yep.
on the ice or off the ice or how you're eating or sleeping or whatever that is, take something out of what we're trying to teach, and just try to make those little incremental improvements. And the more you make those little improvements, you'll be amazed over a long period of time of what those bigger improvements will be in your development as an athlete. And you'll have more energy and you'll be more awake at school. So maybe get better grades, and now you get a better opportunity to go to a better school. And like it all kind of adds up and becomes
It really does. It's pretty fascinating. Like just in my world with the 2 boys, this won't be everyone's goal, but they're obviously wanting to gain weight. They wanna gain muscle weight. And the thing is, a lot of people will all of a sudden their minds probably already just went to protein, right? Creatine and protein.
Right.
Um, but the thing is, those things are what we need, but we need them in the right amount and the right time.
Yep.
So it's amazing how you can't just load up your plate with a steak. Like there is certain amount that's too much, that your pancreas needs time to break all those things down. So anyway, I can get really like
Where there's like
it's
my body type, I look at a piece of pasta and I just put on half a pound. Uh, Weight loss was the issue, not weight gain. So again,
exactly. There's
is
different
so
times. Yep.
different in where they are in their development. And then again, focusing on their weaknesses, focusing on their deficiencies in their diet or whatever that may be.
Yeah.
And again, making that incremental improvement. And it's not a light switch. It's not just, okay, we did
No.
it. Here we go. Now I'm good. No,
No, it's ongoing. Yeah.
it's building habits.
It's like yeah, it's healing and, with the athletes, it's a little bit different because you're not just healing because they don't think they need to heal, but it's like you're healing, but then you're also trying to grow, and it's not a linear process. It's up and down, and you have to change, and it's ongoing. So that's the thing. It's like you can't just give up, like you said, not just one time. You can't just do it once. It has to be something that becomes, a habit. I learned a lot of those things. I just keep learning things. I keep going back. I'm a lifelong learner, and I became board certified in lifestyle medicine, and it was pretty incredible. And although I don't follow exactly everything, I take a lot of those things and put them towards the athletic body because it's amazing. And a lot of it, sleep is a pillar.
Well,
Hydra-
were you on? Did you get to jump on the breathing thing the other night?
no, no,
So I'll make sure I send you a recording. So we had a
yeah,
woman come in and she is she actually, I met her through working with my father. My dad's got a degenerative lung issue. He got
so I'm sorry.
exposure to black mold type of deal,
Oh
and,
boy,
and so
mold.
this woman was like unbelievable. Like helped him gain lung capacity back and breathing and everything.
Nice,
And my dad's like, well, what about for athletes? And I was like, oh,
nice, yeah.
never like, yeah. I mean, I've thought about breathing, but get your heads up and like breathe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you gotta
we
expand
did
that.
this whole thing the other night, and actually, you don't want to get your hands up over your head, and
Yeah,
you actually want to, bend over at the waist, and you want to take pressure off the diaphragm so that the diaphragm can, uh, work more efficiently to deliver oxygen to the rest of your body. So again, like here I am, 20 plus years coaching, and a kid, oh, you got a cramp, well, get your hand
yeah, that's what everyone else
now,
says, yeah.
and that is completely wrong, completely counterintuitive for me anyway. And so,
Right,
and like as a coach, as someone running this program, I'm always trying to learn new things because I don't know what I don't know, right?
right,
I can't change what I don't know. So I'm always trying to, again, introduce different concepts, different things to different people within the program with the hopes that, again, maybe they get just a little tiny nugget. Hey, if you can breathe more efficiently and you can recover quicker, well, you can play at a higher level for longer. So, like, that's
yeah.
valuable insight for every kid to have 8U up to 18U. Um,
Especially you're talking to a pelvic floor therapist too, so it's all about that pressure management system. So especially I mean, all of us have pelvises, but I definitely specialized with the female, like especially female athletes. I had no idea. My entire life, I used to I'd suck in my stomach, hold my breath, and run past the boys' soccer field, trying to hold my tummy in back in high school, all the while not knowing that my 40-year-old self was going to regret that because of everything that happens after having kids. And so I know that's beyond what we're talking about, but it's amazing how if we can set their bodies up for more success now, how they'll never know the difference, but they're going to be so much healthier overall
yeah.
in their older life. So,
And
I mean,
by the
I
way,
could
more
go
of them will aspire to higher levels and play higher levels just
yeah,
because of those little details. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, we'll never know because you don't know. It's like those books when we were young that you could pick the ending.
Right.
Did you ever
Choose
read
your own
those in
adventure.
school?
Love the choose
You
your
could
own adventure. I always chose one.
totally
I'd be done
ending.
after like 4 pages. I'm like, "What happened there?" I guess I didn't.
I don't know if they make those anymore, but they definitely were big when I was growing up. It was like, oh, you could pick your own ending. So, and I don't know why I always think about that, and I think about that with like choices in our life now. I'm like, oh, I could pick this ending, pick that ending.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
one of the things that's really resonated with me is, like, you can't change the past, right? You can only affect positive change moving forward. So again, do your best, athletes. Educate yourselves on where you wanna be. Find out what your goals are. Figure that out first, and then set a path towards accomplishing those goals.
yeah,
And look everywhere, right? Don't just look at what everyone's telling you. Read about breathing and read about sleep and diet and hydration. Those are just little details that we all can control that are going to help you. So when you go do more skills or you go work with that skating coach or whatever, you're playing on that higher end team, you're going to perform at a higher level just because of you took care of yourself before that. So there's so many details to it, and it's a lot of fun to help kids figure out that path. And part of it is also helping the parents figure out when and how their roles change, right? Like as you mentioned, your older kids, like there's not much for you to do anymore other than,
yeah,
hey, great job today, right?
yeah,
Keep working hard. I'm proud of
yeah,
you. Like kids are working so hard, and they need to hear that from their parents about, hey, great job today. I know maybe you didn't score every goal you wanted to score, or your team didn't, perform to the best of their ability, but today was a good day. You got to work hard at something that you love to do, and we're so happy just to be here and watching you. And those little things, like that's what a parent's role is. Because again, as you get older and you get to these elite teams and elite levels, there's really good coaches there, and you got to kind of trust that they're going to do their job as coaches and mentors to your young athletes and take it from there. And that's a hard part, and I have that coming up for me. My 16-year-old, he'll be going into the junior world next year or the year after, and it's very competitive, and
very,
it's
yeah,
only going to be more competitive now with the NIL money and the CHL, and like all the sport landscape is going to change very fast and has changed very fast, even over the last 5 years pre-COVID to where we are now. It's just unbelievable, and our kids are right in the middle of it, and they're
I know.
have to succeed and fail and flail and keep working and get frustrated and get rewarded and all these feelings, that as parents we just got to be there to be the cheerleaders or a listening ear when they need it, because they're going to need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, we're going right through it, and we're going through all the feelings at the same time. But it's like, oh, it's like I need to be stronger, just one step stronger than he is, because it's
It
brutal.
is.
It really is, because you don't know what that actual coach is looking for. And I mean, we've been told over and over, "Wow, you're even better than we thought," but still wasn't the right fit because they were looking for someone that was going to raise the fist a little bit more. Like I hate to say it because I hate that part of junior hockey, but I don't necessarily think I'm like, that's fine. That's not you, like
Yeah,
let's find a place that's not your role. I don't want that to be your role.
and the
So
junior stuff, like that is part of it. I will say it's gotten a lot better than it used to be.
that's good.
Again, the junior games I've been to, I've actually been surprised at how little fighting I've seen nowadays. But they still talk about that grit, and they want those kids with that
Yes,
grit. And like,
exactly. Exactly.
that's all part of the development, but that's not every kid's role. And
Totally, and that's what I said. I'm like, it's not that like Owen is, ahead of Aiden right now, but it's just not that he won't do that, but it's like it's almost, it's not exactly what he is normally. So,
yeah,
but yeah, it's a role. But I talked a long time ago. Do you know Dave Jones? So we met him through, I think it was our Pee Wee Quebec one of the years, I think with Aiden. Anyway, he's a sports psychologist, and he made a comment once about how as parents we should say no matter what the outcome of the game, instead of I'm so proud of you for winning or losing, whatever it is, but instead, like, I love watching you play, you know? So I've always had that in the back of my mind for the last few years of I love watching you play. I can't wait to watch you play. It sounds so corny, but it just made me think of that when you said that about our role as parents
One day
change.
we're going to wake up and our kids' competitive youth sports years are going to be behind us, and we're going to be like,
I
man,
know.
I miss that, right?
I know.
I miss that, and we're all going to miss that, right? We're getting old. I'm getting older. My kids are driving.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do I have a kid that's driving right now?
I know.
Did I do enough with them? And again, like our kids grow older just like we grew older, just like our parents probably had the same feelings.
Yeah.
And I wish I could be, more present or more there. But I think at the end of the day, just being there, and like you said, thank you. I love watching you play today.
Yeah.
Like that's the only message to deliver, I think, to kids, because it's hard, it's a grind, and there's always fault to find with anything. I don't care what you're doing,
Mhm.
and I struggle with that as a facilitator of a hockey
Right.
organization. Right?
Yeah.
There's so many things going great, and there's always someone sitting back looking to find the things that aren't going well. And
Mhm.
again, like I've learned in my life, I just want to, I'm going to surround myself with people that are going to help me get to where I need to be, and not looking back at all the things that we made mistakes on or we didn't do perfectly,
Yeah.
because there's not much in this that are perfect. I'm sorry, but sooner or later we have to coach a kid, and the kid's going to be disappointed that I didn't say great job out there, that I had to give him some feedback that wasn't maybe all positive. You know,
Mhm.
welcome to the challenge, right? Like,
Yeah.
this is the work in front of you, and again, we talk about got to be coachable. I got to be able to take that stuff and then compartmentalize it, and then put it back into your work ethic, and
Yeah.
not being satisfied and continuing to push in your development. And again, as they say, haters are going to hate. Let them hate, right? Like
Absolutely.
I can't tell you how many people despise what I do here in Vermont, and it's tough, it's
Mm.
hard, but it doesn't change the fact that I know Vermont needs this, and if we're not providing this product for our kids, they really won't stand a chance or make it to college hockey. I
Right.
mean, like this is a program that's never existed in Vermont, and we're giving kids the opportunity to challenge themselves to maybe get to college and play Division 1, Division 3 club, whatever. And I tell parents all the time, it's about getting your kid to play 4 more years of competitive hockey at whatever level that is for them. And
Plus, we're making our young kids healthier in general because, I mean, maybe they're still making the choices with the Gatorade and the pizzas and things like that, but overall, they're obviously moving their bodies and they're healthier than just sitting around and
well, and
doing bad
that's
things in our communities,
we
right?
can really get into that, but again, like
Uh,
what I get a lot like, well, why do we need club sports? Like kids can just go outside and just play like we did as kids, and blah blah blah.
it's not
And
the
I
same.
love that. I love that idea. Like I was that kid. I would leave at
Same.
7 in the
Yeah.
morning, and then I had to be back when the street lights came on. Like I remember that. Like that's
Yep.
that's the environment I grew up in. That is
It's not
not
the
the
same
world
now.
of today. I'm sorry,
Mm-mm.
but we
No,
tell
we've
kids to
got,
go home,
all of these now.
yeah, go home, shoot your 200 pucks, and they're like, well, like Joey wants to get on and wants to game.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
like, so again, I think a part of the role of club athletics is to help structure athleticism and activities to
Yep.
like keep these kids active, because again, I think they do get distracted by the phones. Phones are a very powerful thing, right? The social
Yes, they are.
media, the engagement, and all the resources that's out there, right? The games, all that stuff. Like, it's great. It's unbelievable what we have access to at our fingertips. But I think that sport provides that outlet where kids can put their phone down and forget about that stuff for an hour a day, and that's healthy, and
Yep.
that's good for them to do.
I totally agree. Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you so much. I think that we could probably talk longer. Maybe we'll do this
Yeah, I would
again.
love to.
Really.
I would love to, and I appreciate the conversation because these are important conversations for people to hear that maybe aren't sports people or living this stuff every day. Like I think it's just second nature, but not everyone played college soccer or college
Exactly.
hockey or softball, and they're learning right now in real time, and they're stepping into this world, this competitive world.
Right.
So again, I think it's
I see that a lot.
great to have
You know what
a conversation.
I also see, like, because I have older kids and I'm in that next level stuff, going back down and looking at some of the other things, it's like, "All right, calm down." In my head, I'm gonna be like, "Calm down, it's going to be
Right.
okay. They're only 10." Like
Yeah,
but I don't know what I was doing when my kids were 10, it's like we were but anyway, but yeah, thank you so much, and, so we've already kind of given do you want to let people know? I know obviously there's tryouts and it's that you've already formed your teams,
sure.
but you also have some clinics and things like that. So if people are in our local area or close enough, do you want to let them know where to find
Sure.
you?
Yeah, thank you very much. So it's our website is www.vermontjrcatamounts.com. You can also Google us, very easy to find us. We're also on Instagram and Facebook, Vermont Junior Cats. And yeah, so we have winter teams here with the Junior Cats. We have 17 teams this year, about 300 kids registered in the program, anything from 8U up to 18U. So little learn to skates all the way up to seniors in high school. We have both boys and girls teams. Most of our boys teams are co-ed, so we do have a lot of girls that still play with the boys at the younger late ages, which we certainly advocate for. We also do have girls teams. We have split season teams. So we have a lot of kids that will play for us in the fall and then go play for their local high school in the wintertime, which again, we're an advocate for. I'm a Vermont high school hockey player. I love Vermont high school hockey. I actually coach it as well. So Rice Memorial state champs last year. Um,
Woo.
so, again, we have that, but then we also do a lot of leagues, clinics. So any kids that are around over break, we do a lot of, skills clinics for the intermediate to like expert, players. Those are the kids we're trying to work with. We don't do a ton of learn to skate, but who knows? We may do some of that in the future. And, no matter what, we just have fun with what we're doing. We try to offer a lot of different types of offerings for different kids because we just like to engage in the sport of ice hockey and again provide some good coaching and a good environment for kids to have fun, be with their friends, grow and learn as people.
Awesome. I'll make sure I get all that info from you and I'll put it in the show
Great.
notes so that they can reach you easily after listening.
Perfect.
So
Yeah, any questions?
awesome.
It's just Justin at vtjrcats.com is my email. And again, I really appreciate your time. And it's been great having a conversation with you. And obviously, wish your boys nothing but the best as they continue their grind. I know how hard it is. And just let me know if I can ever be a resource.
Well, thank you so much. You've already done some amazing things for them. So thank you so
My
much.
pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you all for listening to this episode of the Elite Athlete Podcast. I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Thanks for joining me today on the Elite Athlete Podcast. Remember, achieving peak performance isn't just about what happens on the field, the court, or the ice. It's about mastering your body from the inside out. Every step you take, every adjustment you make to your health and mindset brings you closer to the athlete you're meant to be. If today's episode inspired you to take action, or you're curious about how you can level up your performance through targeted strategies like blood work analysis, head over to the-eliteathlete.com. There, you'll find program options that are designed to meet your specific needs and help you optimize your health and performance. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with your teammates, coaches, or anyone else you know who's ready to elevate their game. Together, we can build a community of athletes who aren't just strong and fast, but who thrive because they're healthy, balanced, and empowered to push beyond their limits. Stay committed, stay focused, and I'll catch you in the next episode of the Elite Athlete Podcast. Until then, Keep striving for greatness. And remember, you are not alone in this journey.